So Season 7 is coming to Warcraft Rumble, and it's bringing a massive update, including a new family, new campaign missions, and more. Before we dive into that, I do want to give a huge thank you to Blizzard for sponsoring this video. So Season 7 is bringing the new Cenarion family with 2 new leaders, a bunch of new minis, a new campaign zone, and more. And it launches on July 10th and runs all the way through August 20th. Now, a quick update here, guys and girls. The dates have changed slightly since recording this video. Season 7 still launched on July 10th, but the actual patch itself with the new content, the new Cenarion family, the Cenarion festival, and the new campaign zone, that's been all delayed until July 24th. So just keep those new dates in mind throughout the rest of this video. So let's start out by taking a look at the 2 new leaders of the Cenarion family. We have Cenarion and we have Anu. Now, Cenarion is obviously the primary leader of the entire Cenarion family. He's going to be a 5 gold cost ranged elemental attacker with the unique ability that increases the health of all of the Cenarion minis in your army by 20%. He can also root nearby enemies and passively heal nearby allies. Now, like all other minis, he has 3 talent options, the first of which is called Force of Nature. We can summon a treant whenever a rooted enemy dies. The second talent, Revitalize, causes allies entering the Tranquility effect to trigger an additional heal pulse. And then finally, we have the talent Wild Growth, where on deploy, you root all enemies for 5 seconds. Moving on to the next leader, we have Anu. He is a really interesting leader. He is a massive tanky leader with a unique ability called Safe Arbor, which basically turns Anu into a mobile deploy zone. You will have the ability to deploy your minis anywhere Anu goes, and his Safe Arbor also blocks enemy unbound minis from being deployed, so it has 2 effects. Now, Anu will be a fairly expensive 6 gold cost unit, but he has a ton of health with a fairly slow movement speed and a single target physical attack, reinforcing that slow moving mobile deploy zone archetype. Now, for your 3 talent options for Anu, we have Barkskin, where Safe Arbor also grants armor for 8 seconds. Then we have Petrify, where Safe Arbor persists for 8 seconds after death. And finally, we have From the Trees, where minis deployed within Safe Arbor deal double damage on their first attack. Overall, a really cool effect. I am definitely looking forward to trying out Anu myself. The whole kind of mobile deploy zone mechanic is obviously pretty cool, and it's a first kind of its type in Warcraft Rumble. Now let's move on to the 3 new minis coming in the Cenarion family. First, we have the Ancient of War, then we have the Bog Beast, and third, we have the Moonkin. The Ancient of War is a flexible cost bruiser style mini that uses all of your current gold when deployed, but gains size and power based on the amount of gold spent. This is a pretty cool mechanic that gives you the option of choosing what kind of unit do you want. Do you want something cheaper, faster cycling, but lower damage, or do you want to save up for a massive, stronger unit? Now, for your talent options with the Ancient of War, we have Sapling, where if played for 4 gold or less, it gains 50% faster movement speed. Then we have Behemoth, if played for 6 gold or more, it gains siege damage. And finally, we have Lightning Rod, where all enemy unbound deploys are redirected to its current location. That one, I think, is my personal favorite that I'm most excited to try out myself. Next, let's move on to the Bog Beast. The Bog Beast is a fairly straightforward tank. It costs 3 gold, it has a fairly high amount of health, and it has a single target physical attack. Now, the 3 talent options for Bog Beast are Flourish, where heals received are 30% more effective. Next, you have Living Wood, where the Bog Beast will gain armor until 50% health. And finally, we have Rampant Growth, where when the Bog Beast dies, it roots all nearby enemies for 6 seconds. That could offer a pretty cool synergy with the Force of Nature talent from Cenarion, where he summons a treant whenever a rooted enemy dies. So if you time that out properly with the Rampant Growth, you could get a bunch of treants on your army. And then for the 3rd and final mini, we have the Moon Kid. This is a bulky, ranged spell caster who alternates between casting single target and AoE spells. It'll cost 4 gold with a decent amount of health and a decent amount of range. And for the 3 talent options for the Moonkin, you have Vengeance, where taking damage increases casting speed by 50% for 5 seconds. Then we have Moonglow. After deploying, your next spell gains 2 levels. And finally, we have Typhoon, where on deploy, you knock back nearby enemies. I think of those 3 options, I am most excited to try out. Vengeance, having a faster attack speed, paired up with the dual cast ability of single target and AoE spells, sounds pretty powerful. Now let's move on to the new campaign zone called Moon Moonglade, which is a new Cenarius-themed zone featuring 5 new maps and 5 new bosses. First, we have the Broomerin, a chimera that soars above the peaks of Moonglade, defending her rocky rookery from invaders, and you must prevent her brood from hatching and aiding in her defense. Next, you have Shadeleaf and Omniron. Powerful shape-shifting druids of the Claw and Talon team up to defend the Cenarion lands. When the tide turns against the druids, be warned, that is when they unleash their powerful bear and stormcrow forms. Then we have Brightwing, the fairy dragon, a multicolored trickster of the forest, her power resting in the magical stones that surround her grove. Then we have Cenarius himself, the Cenarion leader and healer who uses the forces of tranquility to aid his units in the fight against corruption. And finally, we have the Dragon Ysera sleeping in the Emerald Nightmare. Ysera sends almost endless waves of minions at whomever dare disturb her slumber. And if you're wondering, this new zone unlocks at 74 sigils just after Blackrock Mountain, and the heroic missions have a recommended level of 26 to 27. Now, if you're wondering how does this new family affect the existing mechanics in Warcraft Rumble like heroic missions and your guild war chest, so with heroic missions after the Season 7 update, you will now be required to complete the heroic mission with any 5 families, and the tracker will now indicate which of the families you've already completed the mission with, as well as the rewards earned for doing so. So previously you had to beat the mission with each of the 5 different families, but now because there is a 6th family, you have the option of doing any 5 families. And with the war chest, there is a new Cenarion tracker that has been added, offering additional means to earn experience tombs and progress towards the guild war chest goals. And you can now earn experience tombs at the 2,000, 4,000, and 6,000 benchmarks for the Cenarion family. However, the overall guild goals will remain unchanged. So the 10,000, 20,000, and 30,000 at the top are the same. And when it comes to dungeons and the grid cycle, the first Cenarion dungeon grid cycle will take place on July 14th, with the new rotation being Alliance, Horde, Cenarion, Blackrock, Undead, and then Beast. And let's finish this video off by talking about the brand new event, the Cenarion Festival. This is a 3-week Cenarion Festival that kicks off alongside Season 7 on July 10th, running all the way to July 31st. And this event will be open to any player who meets the sigil requirement of 40 and lasts for 3 consecutive weeks, offering players stacking quests and missions to complete with a robust tree of rewards to redeem. Now, this event will be focused on acquiring and powering up the new Cenarion family minis, and each week will have a different overarching theme. Now, these are subject to change, just a heads up, but the first week is Meet the Cenarions, where 2 Cenarion minis are added into all player armies. Next, we have the Cenarion Surge, where armies are replaced with a dual family, Cenarion plus 1 more. And third, we have March of the Treants. Mining gold grows a Treant mini to fight for you. And a big note here is that most of this event will be solo player focused, kind of like a lot of the current in-game events. And the prizes will consist of gold, tombs, energy, and the new minis themselves, and you will have the opportunity to earn all of the event rewards if enough of the challenges are completed. So that is the new Season 7 update, the whole new Cenarion family, 2 new leaders, 3 new minis, a new campaign zone, some new emotes, and the new Cenarion event. Be sure to download Warcraft Rumble right now through the link down below in the description and join my guild to take part of this event with me. We have a few spaces remaining. And once again, I want to give a huge thank you to Blizzard for sponsoring this video.